In a big win for the Modi government, the peace pact between United Liberation Front of Assam or ULFA, the centre and the Assam government was signed today. The memorandum of settlement was signed in New Delhi in what is being seen as hugely significant strategically as well as economically, considering the security challenge that it posed and the economic losses that followed due to the violence and the bunds that happened across Assam for several years. This peace treaty basically aims to address issues such as illegal immigration, land rights for indigenous communities, and a financial package for Assam's development, all of which have been presented as key demands by ULFA while signing this pact. Union Home Minister Amit Shah, in fact, even promised fulfilling these demands in a stipulated time frame. Listen into what he said today.
पूरे नॉर्थ ईस्ट और विशेष कर आसाम के लिए एक शांति के नए युग की शुरुआत होने जा रही है। मैं आज उल्फा के सभी प्रतिनिधियों को हृदय से विश्वास दिलाना चाहता हूं कि आपने जो भरोसा भारत सरकार पर रखा है, भारत सरकार के गृह मंत्रालय की ओर से आपकी मांग किए बगैर ही इस सारी चीजों को पूरी करने के लिए एक टाइम बाउंड मैनर में प्रोग्राम भी बनाया जाएगा और हम गृह मंत्रालय के
Remember, after almost 2 failed attempts, this historic move is leading towards a potential end to the decades-old insurgency challenge in the northeastern region. A history of almost 44 years. Remember, ULFA was formed in 1979, demanding a sovereign Assam. The outfit emerged with the objective of establishing an independent sovereign state for the indigenous Assamese people. But this outfit began its armed operations in the late 1980s. Initially, it was perceived as a group aiding the needy and the poor of Assam. But ULFA's tactics soon escalated to an armed struggle against the Indian government. In later years, ULFA saw significant shifts in its operations and its ideology, as well as infighting. Now, this pact, remember, is preceded by a number of accords having been signed earlier under the Modi government. Just last month, the UNLF, Manipur's oldest insurgent outfit, signed a peace pact with the centre. In 2021, the Karbi Accord was signed in Assam with 5 insurgent groups. In 2020, the Bodo Accord in Assam and the Brew Agreement in Tripura were signed as well. So there's been a lot of effort by the government to reach out to these insurgent groups in the northeast and make a settlement, make a peace pact. To talk more on this, I'm joined on the broadcast by PK Mishra, former IG BSF, Dr. Thongkolal Hoykip, former journalist and assistant professor, joins us. He's from the Center for Study of Law and Governance. And Major General Dhruv Katoch, Director, India Foundation, joins us. Good evening, namaskar. Thank you very much to all you gentlemen for joining us on the broadcast. Dr. Hoykip, I'd like to start with you. Much needed relief for the people of Assam who have seen the insurgency challenge for several decades?
Definitely, Shreya. But at the outset, I welcome any kind of, insurgent groups coming and having talks, signing a kind of suspension of operations or ceasefire with the government of Manipur, Assam, or with the central government. But let us not be misled, or let us not be too, optimistic about them, because if you look into the last few months, for instance, the ULFA presently signing, a peace accord with the government of India, or a few months ago, the UNLF, Pambay faction, having a kind of peace talks with the government of India. They are breakaway factions of those insurgent groups. We should also remember that there are the main groups which are still in Myanmar or in the China-Myanmar border. So we should try to make efforts to urge them to come and talk with the government of India. However, whatever is the case, I am optimistic that there will be certain outcome through this kind of peace talks and agreements that would come out of these talks. right now there is no documents available regarding these accords, but as far as the information that are available, we can find that many of the indigenous Assamese groups are trying to secure their political position. For instance, their political position in Assam, they are trying to secure through delimitations, for instance, or bringing certain institutions like institution of national importance, Aisha. We have the IIM still not being in Assam. So these are the kind of benefits that they are trying to secure for the indigenous people of Assam. And definitely, as a Northeasterners, I welcome all this kind of packages in terms of economic as well as institutional establishments in the Northeast, which definitely the region has been lacking for so many decades. And I welcome all these kind of demands and the concerns of the pro-talks group of ULFA. And definitely this would bring a positive change in terms of education, in terms of economy, as well as protection of indigenous people. But however, we should also know that there are other factions or the original groups which are still in Myanmar, and India needs to pursue certain foreign policy which would definitely bring these main factions in Myanmar to the negotiating table with India.
Okay.
That's my take.
Okay. Okay. So, yes, it is a long battle that still remains, but at least it's a start. General Katoch, the kind of security challenges that these insurgent groups have posed, specifically if we talk about ULFA, in the past several decades, the army has on ground taken out several operations. They've made efforts to reach out to these groups. And there have been several big challenges that these groups have posed in Assam. But now all of that, at least moving towards some sort of peace, some sort of resolution that we can expect coming from their side.
Thank you, Shreya. Shreya, when I look at this particular agreement, I think this is really a red letter day for Assam as also for the people of India. Now, the problem in Assam, really started off with illegal immigration. And at that point of time, when it started off a few decades back, there was no effort on the part of the then state government or the then center to really curb it. And that is why this movement spread. Now, over the last 1 decade, we don't find any of those illegal immigration issues coming up. And the present chief minister has curbed it to a very, very large extent. This has given a great deal of confidence to the local people. So this is one issue I want to highlight. Now with this peace treaty coming up with one faction of the ULFA, it is a very positive step because overall now the movement gets divided. We have got the Paresh Barua faction which is still operating on the India-China, on the Myanmar-China border. And that is the military arm where Paresh Barua is the commander-in-chief. But he has been weakened now. And I think when we continue with this process, at some point of time, he will be brought to the negotiation table. And this is the invitation which the Chief Minister has openly given. So I think Assam is going to be settled very, very shortly. And it is very important to ensure that Assam becomes a zero insurgency state. Because Assam, along with the other 7 sisters of the Northeast, that is our bridge to ASEAN. And when we are talking of the Act East policy, it has to operate through Myanmar and through the 7 sisters or the 8 sisters now. So it is of vital importance to us. And many people think of the Northeast, as like at one remote corner of India. I think we need to change that outlook. The Northeast is not just a remote a remote part of India. I would now call it the very heart of India. Once great prosperity sets in the Northeast, you will find a radical change as far as the whole country is concerned. So the process which has begun today with the signing of the accord with one faction of the ULFA, I think is a very important step. It will give a lot of confidence to the people of Assam, and it will usher in, I'm absolutely certain, it will usher in an era of peace which will benefit the local people, it will benefit the northeastern states, and it will benefit the whole country. Shreya.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, PK Mishra, since we are talking about the challenges that security forces have faced on ground due to such insurgent groups, the challenges that security forces, the security apparatus faced when insurgent groups such as ULFA were active, as opposed to now when the peace pact has been signed. For the benefit of our viewers, simplify for us, how does the situation really change now, just in layman's language?
Yes, sir, I can tell you, I was there in Assam as IG. I have seen how Assam it was burning. Of course, 79 ULFA was burned, but then it came to a limelight in 1980 only, and then the violence had started. And for the indigenous Assam people in the beginning, ULFA was created, but later on, their mind was changed, and the violence it prevailed, and people they suffered like anything. The main problem was the illegal immigration from Bangladesh, and it could not be curtailed, and it continued through this Char Islands, not only from land border, but from Char Islands of Dhubri River. And this I have seen it personally, and how the fencing was made in Indo-Bangladesh border and Assam-Bangladesh border, and particularly in Char Islands also fencing was made. But the problem remained there in Assam because they had this Assamese, your Chakbansis, your tea tribals. They wanted that they should be looked after. And then this group also, it was divided in 2011, it was divided. Paresh Barua, the ops commander, it sided one side, and Arvind Rajkhova and Anup Chetia, they remained on another side. And 2011, Arvind Rajkhova, he came out, and 2015, he was released. Anup Chetia was released from Bangladesh jail, and of course they came out and they thought they must have a pact with Government of India and Government of Assam so that the normalcy can prevail. And it's a beautiful thing that they have done. And more or less about 550 to 700 militants, they were the followers of Anup Chetia and Arvind Rajkhova all over Assam, and that also in Bangladesh, Bhutan and Myanmar. Earlier, their camps were there in Bangladesh. But when the government got changed and Sheikh Hasina came to power, all these camps which were there in Bangladesh border, Assam-Bangladesh border, they were raided and they were stopped and they were smashed. And they shifted their positions to Bhutan, Indo-Bhutan border. And then when government of Bhutan also, they started operating against them, then most of them, they went to Myanmar border. And that is the time when Arvind Rajkhova and Anup Chetia, they thought of transforming and having a change and coming back to the limelight and to have a talk with the government to ask for their demand, charter of demands. Of course, the last charter of demands was given in April from the government. And now the peace pact was signed yesterday with 30 members of delegates who came from Assam with with Anup Chetia and Arvind Rajkhova. A point about Paresh Barua, the operational commander and that faction. Of course, he is still having about 100 followers in Myanmar-China border. He was earlier in Bangladesh, shifted to Bhutan, then shifted to Myanmar. And then he came to know if he remains in Indo-Myanmar border, he can be apprehended at any time. So he got the help from China government, and in Myanmar-China border, he is there getting the help of China. But this particular pact which has been made today by Anup Chetia and Arvind Rajkhova group, which is the biggest group of ULFA, the peace has come, the progress will be there, and Paresh Barua will definitely come, and he will be asked to come and join the pact, join the peace pact. We hope definitely Paresh Barua will come back.
Let me take this across to Dr. Hauke.
And Arvind Rajkhova. He has no other option. He has no other option.
Okay. Okay, Dr. Haukip, we've been talking about how these two factions have been there and how the Paresh Barua faction now should be following this path as well. But I want to understand from you, from 1979 when ULFA was formed, and it was formed as an outfit which would be the voice of the poor and the needy of Assam, to 2023 where they're signing a peace accord with the government. Do you think this whole movement, when it was started, then outfit, then an armed outfit that it became, has weakened, has lost support with the people of Assam, don't have a lot of supporters now?
Yeah, definitely. In the last 2 decades, we find that most of these insurgencies are losing support, whether it be in Nagaland, in Assam, or in Manipur, as in Tripura also. But these armed groups will not give up their arms, easily. And some kind of diplomacy has to be played to the areas where these armed groups are sheltering, that is Myanmar, and the support from China. So many times in Manipur conflict, experts always say that we cannot interfere into the sovereignty of other countries such as Myanmar. But in order to bring peace in the Northeast, definitely India has to pursue some kind of foreign policy interventions in the neighboring countries so as to make certain conditions that these insurgent groups which are settled in Myanmar could be a course to make a peace deal with the government of India. And if you look into the ULFA movement,
Dr. Haukip, also help me understand what made
started in 1979.
What made these outfits lose support with the people of Assam? Did the Assamese people realize that violence is not the way, that whatever they thought that this outfit stands for, these groups stands for, these voices say that they will support, is not what that they're doing on ground?
I think people eventually wanted development. People wanted peace and security. People wanted to enjoy the benefits of development rather than consistently or being in this kind of situation for the last 50 years. People have been fed up with the kind of situations that they are, and eventually, in the last 1 decade, we find that the youths find the fruits of development everywhere, in many parts of India, in the world, and they wanted to enjoy this kind of benefits in their own homeland also, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of education, in terms of different aspects of life. So people change their mind with the change of global forces. For instance, today we have different aspects of life, such as a borderless world, or global trade, globalization, economic liberalization. All these forces brought changes to the thinking, it brought to the lifestyle, to the kind of aspirations of people. People aspirations have changed. They don't they don't mind whether they are in India or whether they are in China or Myanmar, but people want the fruits of development. People want a better life. People want better education, healthcare. All these other realizations that has been brought to the people of the northeastern region. So they wanted to enjoy, or they wanted to take all these benefits into their own lands, and definitely
which is what they felt was lacking in Assam, not just the security challenge that they posed, but the economic downfall, the economic losses that Assam saw due to the bunds and the constant violence that happened, when they'd started kidnappings and extortion in the tea and oil sectors. These are two, of course, very important sectors through which the economy of Assam was working, and those were impacted. Of course, as Dr. Haukip said, the people realize that they want development over the kind of violence that they are seeing. But General Katoch, one of the most important points. Yes, please go ahead, Dr. Haukip.
Yeah, let me get one point that, everywhere, whether it be Tripura, Manipur or Assam, the indigenous people, so-called, are insecure of their land, insecure of their, political majority. So that's why the pro-Talks faction of ULFA were emphasizing on certain delimitations so that they continue their own, kind of majority in certain constituencies. Yeah. They wanted to secure government lands. They wanted to secure, that the illegal immigrants or foreigners do not, have these voter IDs entered in Assam or any parts of the Northeast. So these are the demands that ULFA pro-talk groups are trying to secure through this accord. And hopefully, I think some changes to this citizenship.
Yeah, which is what the Home Minister said today, that these demands will be fulfilled. Yeah. In a stipulated time frame, the Union Home Minister Amit Shah did promise that these demands will be fulfilled. Yes. Let me take this quickly across to General Katoch. General Katoch, one of the most important points and factors that has come from our discussion is how external factors are also influencing the internal security situation of the country. When it comes to the Northeast, of course, Myanmar and China are two countries that come up in these conversations all the time. What is the way forward, really? How does one pave the way while maintaining, proper relations, as well as dealing with this sort of security challenge that is posed through external factors?
The way I look at it is there are two countries really which can become a problem. One is Myanmar and the second is Bangladesh. Now with the present Hasina government in Bangladesh, that problem has been resolved practically to 100%. The problem is going to come up because the Bangladesh elections are going to take place very, very shortly. And if Sheikh Hasina does not win again and the BNP comes in, then a very large number of radical Islamists will be joining that government. And they will be backed by Pakistan's ISI. I believe that should that happen, there will be a spurt in these activities again because they will be directly encouraged by the new Bangladesh government should there be a change in power. When we come to how to deal with it, I'll just get back to you. But when we come to Myanmar, you see the problem in Myanmar is different. Neither Myanmar nor India want these insurgent groups to be there on that border. But the problem with Myanmar is their military doesn't have the capacity and the capability to deal with it. And India obviously cannot go into another country being a sovereign issue. So that problem, I think, is going to remain. But it is a restricted problem which we can handle, especially the Indian military and the security forces which are there. We can handle it. With Bangladesh, I think we need to be very, very careful. The fence has come up. But we need to be very proactive in ensuring illegal immigration doesn't take place. I'm afraid this illegal immigration, which has been spoken about, the problem has been it has been sponsored and supported by the state. There was the Congress chief minister, I mean, I don't want to get into parties, but he actually made a statement some decades ago that jab tak Ali aur Kuli honge, hum haar nahi sakte hai. Now, he's made a public statement which is available on record. Now, you can't have, and they were getting in illegal immigrants as a constituency. Now, that became a cause for insurgency. Now, that no longer exists because the present government in Assam,
that is also something that needs to be looked at by the Indian government.
Have ensured...
Yes. So this is, I think we all will agree that this is a long battle that Indian government in India needs to fight.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah. While maintaining our relationship with other countries, we have to maintain that. I'll have to wrap this up here. This is a good step, a long battle that still remains, but a first step has been made. To all my guests, Dr. Haukip, General Katoch and PK Mishra, thank you very much for joining us on Mirror Now and sharing your thoughts on this big good news that came ahead of New Year's, and where India, of course, has signed that peace treaty. The Indian government has signed the peace treaty with ULFA. With that, it's a wrap on Beyond the Headline. News and updates will continue on the other side. Thank you very much for joining us right now. Bye-bye. Good night.